everyone, welcome back. Today's video is of me making a piece from Craft Kitsune's tiny fantasy box. I made a castle in the sky diorama with resin. Unfortunately, many things went wrong while I made this piece. The end result was not as I imagined, but I decided to still post this video anyway so people can see my mistakes and hopefully learn from them. Anyway, let me show you the contents of this box first. So the first thing I did was I casted the little dragons from their exclusive mold using UV resin and the glitter that was in the kit. These dragons are really tiny, so I had a hard time getting resin in the tiny area while avoiding trapped bubbles. I also made the castle using UV resin and some mica powder. Again, the castles are really tiny and the resin had a hard time getting in the tips of the towers. I got trapped bubbles in them, causing them to break off when demolding it. I had 2 failed attempts before I finally got this one. You really need to go slow when pouring resin in these. Literally 1 drop at a time, using a toothpick to manipulate the resin into all the crevices. So the casting and making the diorama was a frustrating part for me. First of all, I knew going in I had the wrong kind of resin for this project. I only have resins made for thin castings. For the piece to work, you'll need resin designed for deep casting so the resin won't overheat and cause an array of problems. I used the resin I had because I didn't want to buy a new resin for just one project and not use the rest. That would be a waste of a product. So in order for this resin to work, I would have to do it in multiple layers. The problem with this is that each layer would be very visible after curing. So I decided to cast this in 4 layers because I wanted little layers as possible. I knew going in I should have done more layers so the resin won't overheat, but I went for it hoping for the best. The first layer was okay until I had to embed the 3D clouds and the dragon. I waited for the resin to gel a bit so the inclusions won't sink. These 3D clouds produced so many bubbles, and since they were so delicate, it was hard to keep some of them in one piece. Once you embed them in resin, you can't really move it around too much because they would literally start to fall apart. I had to babysit each layer for a while due to the bubbles keep coming from the clouds. But because the layer was thick, my resin was heating up quickly and starting to cure. And when this happens, bubble management becomes very difficult. So it seems like these 3D clouds don't work too well in deep casting molds unless you coat them with resin first and allow them to fully cure before embedding them. The cured resin will protect the clouds from falling apart or from bubbles forming around them. Another issue I ran into is the fact you can't see anything through the mold from the sides. The only visual feedback you get is from the bird's eye view. So I couldn't tell where exactly I was embedding my inclusions and couldn't really adjust its placement. Usually diorama resin artists use mold made of clear plexiglass so they can see their pieces from all angles. So in a way I had to play a guessing game. So this is what it looks like. I thought I would have way more bubbles, but because I use resin that has an excellent bubble releasing quality, plus I removed the bubbles in a vacuum chamber, the only visible bubbles are around the clouds and the dragons. It's definitely not what I had envisioned, but honestly it could have turned out worse. But I still wouldn't call it a successful piece. I mean, still looks pretty cool though with the dimensions and the prism effect it gives when the sunlight hits it. Anyway, that's pretty much for this video. I hope you guys learned something here. Remember, it's okay to make mistakes, embrace them, and learn from them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!